Hi, I'm Damien on the Creators Unlocked podcast with LiveLink. I'm joined today by Vicki Handley. Thank you for joining us, Vicki.
Thank you for having me. So excited.
Vicki describes herself as LinkedIn's favourite green-haired ghostwriter.
That's right.
That sounds pretty spooky.
I am pretty spooky.
Not the green hair bit, the ghostwriter.
Yeah.
What is a ghostwriter?
Okay, so a ghostwriter is somebody that I work with high-flying people, so like C-suite execs, and I write as them. So
I see.
I get inside their mind and write as them. So yeah.
So you write as though you are your client?
Yes.
As opposed to writing for your client?
Yes.
Oh, amazing. So when you're ghostwriting, that must be seriously difficult because you're constantly having to write for different people in different tones of voices.
Yeah.
So you're like a chameleon. You're gonna have to like adapt.
Yeah, I am. Hence the green hair.
How do you do that though? Every single day, having to suddenly switch from sort of one personality or tone of voice to another.
It's a process, definitely. I mean, I spend a lot of time with my clients. We spend, like, when we first start working together, I spend like 60, 90 minutes just getting to know them. So I get to know their ideas, their expertise, their mannerisms, even their humour. That's just part of what I need to do. And we spend a lot of time together with this questionnaires, there's all kinds of things. And yeah, after a while, I just kind of flick into that mindset. What would so-and-so say in this scenario and go from there. So,
do they always come with a tone of voice for you, or do you have to figure that out yourself?
Bit of both. Mostly we figure it out together.
Oh, do you? And are they usually quite happy with what you've come up with?
Yes.
Always?
Always.
Of course.
I mean, sometimes we do a little bit of editing and playing around, and like I might go a little bit too far sometimes, and we have to rein it back a bit. But yeah, it's all part of the process.
Yeah. So you're quite big on LinkedIn at the moment. So when I say you're quite big, you're very active on LinkedIn, aren't you?
Yes.
So are most of your clients coming directly from LinkedIn?
Yes.
I'd
say 95%.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the majority of the money that you make comes as a direct or indirect result of posting on LinkedIn.
Yep.
And is that through posting, or is that through word of mouth?
It's through a combination of things, really. It's through consistent posting.
Mm-hmm.
It's through a strategy that I worked with Chris James on as part of Content to Clients.
Mm-hmm.
And it's through conversations that I have with people on the platform. But all of that wouldn't be possible without the content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And one of the things that I saw that you'd mentioned on LinkedIn as well is that you're quite introverted.
I am.
Yes.
I think it's what you call an outgoing introvert. I seem quite high energy and comfortable with people, but then I have to recharge and kind of spend a few days on my own away from human race for a few days afterwards. So yeah.
So you must spend quite a lot of time just sort of in the zone, doing your thing.
Yes.
Because another thing you speak about as well is anxiety quite a lot, don't you?
I do. I'm riddled with it.
So is that something you always knew, or is that...
Yeah, I think it is. I was a very worried child. It's just part of me. It's part of my process. I'm a perfectionist as well, which is another thing. But yeah, it's something that I've always kind of lived with and worked with. I'm much better than I used to be. Mm-hmm. I've got strategies and things to cope with it. But yeah, it's very much a part of my brand as well. It's just something that I feel a lot of people benefit from talking about, and a lot of people hide it. And that's the worst thing you can do, because it also makes me really good at my job. And because I plan for every eventuality, I have like 17 action plans and things for when things go wrong. But I'm not like a nutter or anything. I am fine.
No, it's very interesting actually, because this is quite a big event, I suppose. You're speaking on a podcast. There's quite a number of people, obviously, that listen to this podcast now on the Creators Unlocked. Were you anxious about joining us today?
A little. I was the way that I kind of see things now. It's been a gradual process, but I've tried to reframe it from nerves into excitement.
Okay.
Because it's the same similar emotion, and it affects your body in the same way. But I've done a lot of firsts. This last 6 months, I've been working really hard on myself, on my business, on everything really. And I am a very different person than I was 6 months ago. And I've never felt more kind of confident and self-assured in myself. And yeah, it's been a gradual process. There have been times in my life when I just kind of crumbled because of anxiety, and I will not go there again. It will not defeat me, if you like.
Good on you.
It's part of me, but it's only a part of me. It is not me. So.
Yeah. I mean, did you know you had anxiety back then when you sort of said there that you crumbled? Was that, or were you just like, what is going on here?
I'd had it, but I didn't realise how bad it had got. And it was when I was at uni, actually. I had to take a year out because of, because I basically had horrendous panic attacks. And I just kind of gave up everything. I was convinced I was going to drop out of uni. I wasn't going to finish, but I decided, no, take a year out, sort myself out. And then I went back and I did what I needed to do, got my law degree, got my 2-1. I was very pleased about that at the time.
Congrats.
Thank you. And yeah, but it's kind of changed what I wanted to do with my life at that point. I was like, I need to make some changes. I need to look after myself. And to be honest, I'm glad that it happened now, because I wouldn't be where I am today without it. So. And
is that something that was self-diagnosed, or did you?
No, it was, but I got the confirmation at that point that I had like generalized anxiety disorder. So.
And it suddenly just made sense.
Yes, everything made sense. Like I'm seeing a lot of people at the moment with like getting neurodivergent kind of diagnoses and things, and they just said it clicks and makes sense. And it felt exactly the same way for me with anxiety. Yeah,
and what were you doing at the time? So you were at university, and then did you go into full-time employment, or were you?
Yes,
you did.
I when I took the year out, I did like I kind of fell into charity marketing as like a fixed-term role, and I stayed there for the next 10 years. I just stayed in charity marketing, doing all kinds of different jobs in the sector, and that's where I found copywriting.
And did that affect your ability to pursue a career? Were you, sounds really bad to say, but were you judged on the anxiety by your employer, or were they very understanding about that?
No, they were actually really supportive, and they gave me opportunities, but in a way that I could fulfill them. Does that make sense? So they didn't hold me back. They knew they could see the potential in me. The only person that couldn't was me. And I held myself back for far too long.
It's super interesting because, you know, I sound like a really old guy. I'm really not, but I'm in my mid-30s. When I was growing up, people didn't really know what mental health was. No. That's a lie. People did know what mental health was, but nobody really put the two together. They just thought somebody was different, or somebody was being awkward, or, you know, all these kind of words that were thrown around sort of behind closed doors. It's so good that nowadays that we're able to understand more about the complexities of human beings every single day, and how we're able to utilize different people's skills in different ways. So I do feel like you're in a world now where it is much better. But of course, I don't know what your experiences of that are.
I completely agree with you. I mean, I'm glad that I'm around now when I can talk about mental health problems, anxiety. I mean, anxiety is one of my content pillars that I talk about all the time on LinkedIn. It's a part of my life, and I felt for a long time with my content and my life generally, I hid in plain sight. I was very polished, professional on LinkedIn and in my professional career, and I was always very much don't stick your head above the parapet, kind of just hide in plain sight. That's what I was. And then at some point, probably 6 months ago, let's just say, I just thought, you know what, this is exhausting, because I am hiding key parts of myself from the rest of the world. And it was when I was just like, forget it, I'm just going to go all out. I'm going to embrace my uniqueness. I'm going to just dye my hair green. I'm going to get the tattoos that I've wanted my whole life, but I thought I couldn't because I wouldn't be able to get a job. And here I am now, and things have never been better. And that is when my people found me. I know that sounds really cliche, but since I've kind of just gone all in on me and just embraced everything about myself and just gone with the quirk. I'm called Queen of Quirk at one of the agencies that I work with.
Love it.
I know, right? And it's just, it's been transformational.
So when was that pivotal moment where you said, do you know what, sod this, I'm going to be me, and if people don't like it, tough?
When was that pivotal moment? Okay, there's a couple really. The first was before I started my business. I was working for a charity. I loved the job, don't get me wrong, but I'd had a baby, I'd come back.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Lots of them today.
Not babies, lots of congratulations.
No, yeah. Let's just clarify.
Just the one.
Just the one.
That's enough. Yeah, so I'd had a baby. I'd come back from maternity leave just as the first lockdown hit. It was a turbulent time for the charity, and I sat at my desk one night after a horrible meeting, and I just sobbed at my desk. I'd missed bedtime. I'd missed everything that I wanted. I just didn't have the balance that I wanted, and that was a pivotal moment, because that's when I said to myself, I'm going to quit this job. I'm going to do my own thing. Don't know what it's going to look like yet, but that's what's going to happen. And that was the first kind of step, I think, because when you run your own business, you kind of have to just go all in. And then the second step was, I've already mentioned, very anxious person my whole life. When my nan died, at her funeral, she'd prepared everything, and she'd even readings that she wanted read out and things. And there was one particular reading which really stuck out to me, and it just really resonated. And I've actually got it tattooed now. And it was, set your troubled hearts at rest and banish your fears. And it just, something clicked in me, and I quit my job. And when
just like that,
I was like, that's a message. I'm not a spiritual person. I'm not very woo, but that was like, that is a message that she's given me. And then when I got her inheritance a few months later, I invested it all in my business, and I've never looked back.
Congratulations. And sorry to hear about your nana, but it sounds like she'll be very proud.
I think so.
In the direction that you've gone in.
Definitely. I think she'd just be happy that I'd finally just accepted myself for who I am and just gone all out.
So you had, I'm just going to be blunt about this, you had no proof of concept. You had nothing to say, this is going to work.
Nope.
You just simply went, do you know what? I don't care. I'm going to do it.
I said to myself, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it?
True.
I've got a baby. I've got a mortgage. My partner is supporting us financially at the moment, but he can't do that for very long. So let's just do it. I can't get a job. I can't get a job at the moment because of COVID. So let's just see what happens. And that's very out of character for an anxious person. Yeah. I don't really know what happened. It was like a mini mental breakdown. I don't know, but but yeah, I just thought, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it.
And is it working?
Yes,
it is.
I won't go back.
No. Are you earning more money now than you were working full time?
Yeah, like 3 times over.
Wow. And where is that coming from?
Well, LinkedIn primarily.
Excuse me.
Various places. A lot of my clients are C-suite execs. They're agency owners. They're managing directors of companies, CEOs, coaches, freelancers, various different sources. But yeah, it's I'd say 80 to 90% of it is LinkedIn ghostwriting.
Where's the other 10% to 20%?
Word of mouth referrals.
Okay. Yeah. And do they contact you on LinkedIn or?
Yeah, on LinkedIn or email, but mainly my primary marketing channel is LinkedIn.
Yeah, okay. So a big part of what you do is nurture. So I know that you put on there that you have this huge nurture strategy, which I guess is different depending on which clients you're working with. I feel like a lot of businesses forget about that nurture part of the funnel and the nurture part of that relationship. And most of them just go from sale to why haven't they converted yet, or sale to conversion, and they get a bit lucky. It really is a key part of any sort of relationship.
It is.
Just for anyone listening, what exactly is a nurture strategy and why is it important?
When you start putting content out there, or any kind of content really, people aren't just going to come to you. Why would they? They don't know who you are. So a big part of your job is to get them to know you, remember you, like you, trust you. And that takes time. That's an investment. And that is what content to clients help me with mainly, because when I started I didn't have as much of a strategy as I should, but it's all down to conversations. That's where I attribute all my kind of success has come from. It's been from investing time and energy in LinkedIn and in the DMs and getting people on coffee chats. Oh my God, I've had so many coffee chats, probably like 100 coffee chats this year, something like stupid like that.
Put it on the expenses.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's all about building meaningful relationships. The stuff I do isn't transactional. I don't see it as a transaction. It's my clients. It's cheesy. I hate models, but it's like a flywheel that I work on, not a funnel, because they just keep coming back. We keep going round. I think actually all of my clients now, yeah, that's right. All my clients now are on monthly retainers, so we continue to work together. Because doing ghostwriting, you kind of, once you've got that tone of voice nailed, you want to keep going because they're starting to see the results and kind of increasing their followings or whatever it is that their particular objective is. And yeah, that nurture is a key part of that. You can't just put content out there and hope for the best. It's investing in conversations, and I even have like a daily workflow that I go through where I comment on certain people's content, and then we have a conversation. I get in the DMs. We have I've got email lists and kind of nurture sequences on that front as well. But yeah, all my success I attribute to great content, which obviously a copywriter, content writer I would have, but the opportunities that I've had, including this one, have come via LinkedIn.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you've talked about this flywheel. Do you have a retention strategy as well then?
Yeah, just do good work.
Yeah.
That's my retention strategy.
And they just keep coming back?
They just keep coming back.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do great work. Be easy to work with. Become an indispensable part of the team. That's what I do.
Yeah. And they just keep coming back and back and back?
They do.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So where did this passion come from for copywriting and content?
It kind of snuck up on me. I've always enjoyed writing ever since like a young age. Like mainly story writing when I was little. And then I don't know, I get obsessed with things. Like people ask me, oh, what copywriting courses do you recommend? What copywriting books do you recommend? And I'm like, well, there are some good ones out there, but I learned what I do by reading ads, by, I don't know, on the tube, you see a billboard, you in your inbox, like copy is everywhere. And part of my process, I've got swipe files and all sorts of things. But it's just figuring out why stuff works. So if I see something, if I buy something based on reading the packaging or whatever, I'm like, why did that work? What is it about that? And it's the psychology behind it. I think I'm a bit of a geek. Always have been. I mean, the glasses are a giveaway, but
that doesn't make you a geek.
Oh, it does.
Very cool people wear glasses.
See, I've been called cool twice this week, and I am not what I would associate with cool.
I like the vibe. I like the vibe.
I'm a mum that sits in my like upstairs bedroom / office. Like that's.
I think that sounds like the whole population at the moment. To be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I pretty much live in pajamas. Like I'm not the definition of cool, but yeah, I'll take it. That's fine. But I can't remember what the question was now. What was I saying? Oh, where did the passion come from?
Yeah.
But I kind of, it kind of snuck up on me. I've always enjoyed writing. I felt for a long time like I was, again, another cliche, but I felt like I was an artist and I was trying to figure out what my medium was. And then suddenly, I'm not quite sure what the moment was, but I was like, it's been words all along. I've got quite a complicated relationship with words actually, because I feel like, although I'm doing an interview now, verbally, my brain takes a minute to catch up. So I've spent a lot of my life kind of feeling misunderstood, like perhaps that wasn't what I meant. So in challenging conversations or whatever, I'd always write it down. Like I'd always write a letter, I'd always write an email to get all my thoughts in order. And it's always come out better in words. So it's kind of evolved from that, I think. There's just something polished and kind of refined about the written word that just feels good to me, and I just love it. And when people started saying to me, oh, can you just write this for me? Or can you just write this blog for me? Can you write this, I don't know, instruction manual for something at work? Like just like silly things coming along. And I'd find a way to make it interesting and engaging. And to me, what I was doing was just second nature. But to them, they were like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. This is like, where did this come from? And it was at that point, I think, that I realized that I had a skill that I hadn't intentionally kind of nurtured or worked on, but it's just, it was like passion, I suppose, meets kind of practical skill somewhere along the way.
Hey, it's Mel at LiveLink here. We're making it possible for creators and experts to teach anything online. It is the easiest way to monetize your audience. We'll even sort out your video editing and email marketing for you, leaving you to do what you do best, creating. LiveLink.vip, where creators and experts teach. Well,
I actually think you're not taking a minute to answer my questions. You haven't rehearsed for these, so you are very much just talking off the bat, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think we're having quite a natural conversation.
Oh, thank you. That's
like, I think it's pretty good, So I wouldn't, hold yourself back at all. I think your verbal words are just as good as your written words.
Thank you very much.
So I wouldn't, don't hold yourself back. What's been your biggest struggle then in your working career? You can talk about your personal life as well if you want to, but what's been the moment where you've thought, oh, this is super difficult and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this?
Gosh, I have those thoughts every so often. Sometimes every day. Like, I feel like it's running my own business. It's like, it's not something I ever thought I would do. Until COVID, until having a baby, everything else, I was just going to be in a 9-to-5. It was easy. I enjoyed it. It was not something I ever thought that I'd do. So kind of taking that leap, there was a lot of imposter syndrome. It was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never run a business. I've never done this. But actually, at one point, funny enough, I think it was a conversation with Chris James that we had early on when I started working together. And he's like, at what point are you going to see yourself for the success that you are and what you're going to be? Like, you're in a position where whatever you do, you're going to be successful. And something about that just kind of, I was ready to hear it. So the hardest point for me was getting out of my own way and getting out of my own head and realizing that actually I am capable and I can do whatever the hell I want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you measure success now then?
How do I measure success? I like money.
Anyone that says they don't is lying. Yeah, people need it, especially in the UK today.
But I work hard, don't get me wrong. But success for me is being able to work and being able to be the best mum I can. My little one's 3.5, so he's not going to stay small for long. He's off to school next year, but I've been able to be there for him and still be mum, and do what I want and make good money from it, do something I'm passionate about, be a good example, be a good role model for him, that you can do something that you're passionate about and get those kind of financial results, kind of live the life that you want. So that's important for me in terms of success. And I've found my confidence, I think. I've just kind of, it's liberating to just finally be me, unapologetically me, I suppose. Whereas all those years I was kind of timidly me in the corner, and then in a professional setting I was this version of me that I thought other people wanted, rather than the actual me, which is who I want to be.
Did you feel like you were inconveniencing people then?
Probably, yeah. I don't know. I don't know quite. I'm just a very damaged human being. No, no, not at all. But yeah, I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I just very much felt like a supporting kind of, I don't know, supporting actress, whatever. Whereas now I'm the leading lady, I guess.
You need to be selfish sometimes.
Yes.
Well, do you know what? You don't need to be selfish, but you need to be more selfish than perhaps you have been in the past. Yeah. And that, I don't think that is being selfish. I think that's just looking after yourself and doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, do keep doing that. I mean, I was actually quite surprised when you mentioned that you're quite introverted. I obviously did my homework on your LinkedIn profile before I came in.
Yeah.
I think you're very, very, chatty and absolutely lovely. So I wouldn't put yourself down at all.
Yeah, no, I've kind of again, this, God, all with the cliches. I'm so sorry, but I feel like on LinkedIn I've found myself and I found my people. I've got there are a really nice group of people on LinkedIn that follow me and I follow them, and there are people that I would never have met strangers off the internet before LinkedIn, whereas I've recently met a couple of strangers from LinkedIn. I think I met you from LinkedIn.
You did.
Various other people, and I've made genuine friendships from LinkedIn, and I'd always written it off as a CV writing platform until I just started to actually properly use it, and I realised there's such a good creator network, and yeah, like I said, like real genuine relationships, friendships, partnerships, collaborations, all the rest of it, that I never in a million years would have met or had the opportunity to kind of meet without that platform. So yeah, I owe it a lot.
Yeah, where do you think you'd be without LinkedIn? What would you be doing right now?
I'd work for a charity, I expect, 'cause that's my background, charities and charity marketing.
Yeah.
I'd probably be in a 9-to-5, not earning as much as I'm earning now, and not as fulfilled kind of creatively as I am now. Not to say that I wouldn't love the job, because I love working with charities. They'll always have a special place in my heart, because they kind of gave me my start and discovered my passion for kind of copy and writing more generally. But doing this and ghostwriting, and hopefully in the future creating some kind of courses or something along those lines, I want to be able to give back to those charities in a different way, because a lot of charities' content game is poor.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's very traditional, isn't it?
Yes, and they don't have the budget, but I would love to kind of change that for them, kind of just, I don't know, show them the way, if you like.
Almost sounds like you need to chat to Chris James about his organic lead strategy.
Yes, I do, definitely.
Sounds good. I want to talk to you a little bit about blogs. So obviously you're quite passionate about blog writing and getting your message across in tone of voice through blog writing. How do you feel like, let me rephrase, are blogs becoming decreasingly important? I don't know if that's the correct grammar to use. Because there is more and more of a focus now on visual video style content.
Great question.
Are blogs going to die soon?
I don't think so. I think they'll evolve, because everything evolves. But I think a lot of blog content is middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. Nurture. Because they're all like, short form has its place and it's doing really well and it's easy to consume. But when you're kind of further along that buyer journey, so kind of more towards consideration, conversion phase, the first thing I do is check out somebody's blog, or whether it's a product or a service, to kind of get a sense of what they're like. So for me, I'll always stand by blogs, because that's where it started. That was the first things that I was doing for people was writing blogs. But I still think they have their place, and I think with the introduction of AI and everything else, everyone keeps talking about chat. What's it called? It's been in the news this week and last, and on LinkedIn feeds everywhere about AI coming for copywriting and everything. No, it won't. It'll just be a different focus. Things evolve. Everything does.
Your words here. What makes a badass blog?
Ooh.
Was that a LinkedIn post that you recognise?
Probably, yes. Although there've been a lot of
It's pinned on your LinkedIn. I think it's something.
What makes a badass blog? I've just lost my words. It's several things, really. Being clear on the objective, delivering what you promise. Always do that. Never say you're going to don't do the whole clickbait thing, like 10 amazing things about X, and then it's not amazing. It's just common sense stuff that everyone already knows. With Google evolving and the algorithm changing and all the rest of it, I think it's more important than ever to have, if you're using data and things, to kind of create your own data, your own sources. Just kind of unique content is where it's going forwards. Don't just regurgitate more and more of the same thing, and more human content, I think, as well. Like embrace, like with AI and everything else, kind of low hanging fruit and kind of content, like people when they're just coming into the industry, it's like top 5 this, that and the other. That stuff isn't going to be as influential anymore as perhaps it has been in the past, and it's more focusing on kind of that humanizing content. And just there's all sorts of things, but just know your objectives, know what you want someone to get from it, and make sure that you deliver. That's basic. That's it in a nutshell, I think. Do a lot of your clients ask you to do blog writing on their behalf? Not as many as I used to. I used to do a lot of blogs, but most of the stuff that I do now is LinkedIn ghostwriting posts. But yeah, I still do blogs. I still love blogs. I love it when a client comes to me and says, do a blog. So you must have the login details of so many people. No, I just write the posts. You just write the posts. Well, and then send it over to them and say, copy and paste this. Copy and paste this, and or get your VA to do it. Yeah, it's nice and clean that way. It's just nice and simple. Don't have any of the management of the social media accounts or anything. So you make your money by essentially typing out multiple posts on a Word doc or similar. Google Doc, sorry, of course. Just get the backlink there. Yep. Google Doc. You email that across to your client. They copy it and paste it and schedule it however they like. And then paychecks comes your way. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit more to it than that, because obviously I have those kind of getting to know you sessions, and then I interview them on like a monthly basis about, because when we first start working together, we create content pillars and kind of the things that they want to talk about. We'll have those conversations, but basically what I do is turn those conversations into engaging copy. That's either, I don't know, building brand awareness, starting conversations, encouraging people to make contact, kind of humanizing them, I guess. You must really know a lot about a lot of stuff. Because people, I mean, what if someone, I don't know, someone in accounting comes to you and it's like, I'd like you to talk about the, umbrella term at blah, 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 whatever it might be. I don't. I mean, where do you even start with that? It's their ideas, their knowledge, their expertise. I just translate it. I'm a translator. That's all I am. Okay. I work a lot with people in the digital marketing space, and agencies and that kind of thing. So I do naturally kind of gravitate to those. But then I do have clients that are financial planners, accountants and things like that. But I think not having that knowledge is actually a benefit. Because I say a lot to people that they're too close to their businesses to write about them sometimes, because you can't switch knowledge off to the level that you need. So when you're, I don't know, accountants, I'm just going to go after accountants.
Why not?
Like, yeah. I'm not interested in the intricacies of accounting. Again, soz. But if I was creating content as an accountant, I'd need to focus on the pain points of the people that I want to work with, the kind of borderline things that matter to me as a kind of as a business owner, and the common objections that's going to stop me working with that particular accountant, and getting to the crux of those, but also building credibility as well, and referring to changes in the law and all kinds of different things. But yeah, I'm a translator. That's what I do.
Yeah, nice. All right, one more question from me before I let you go, if that's okay. Your anxiety, I'm going to bring it back to that, sorry.
That's fine.
Has it hindered your career growth, or has it been a big opportunity in being as creative as you are?
That's a great question. I think it probably did hinder me to a point, but it won't anymore. And no. I'm very excited for 2023.
Do you feel like the anxiety, though, has held you back, or do you think it has allowed you to be the perfectionist that perhaps you are today, or to come up with continuously great content ideas? Or do you think if you didn't have that anxiety, you'd still have that natural ability to do that?
I think it's a key part of my creativity. I think that's where I've got to, is I saw it as a hindrance. I saw it as a blocker. I saw it as something holding me back. Whereas actually kind of almost like another cliche, harness its power in a way, because it is perfectionism, but it's also planning, it's strategy, it's connecting things in ways that are different to other people. And it's a part of me. And I can't get away from that fact. So I'm going to channel it for good rather than letting it control me.
Why would you want to get away from it? It's clearly defines your uniqueness, and I don't think, I don't think there's any such thing as normal. We always talk about what's normal and what's not.
Normal's boring.
Normal's boring. Well, what even is normal, you know? Yeah. Like Joe Bloggs, is he normal? I don't know. Or is she normal? Who knows? But what I would say is just keep doing what you're doing, because clearly, however your mind works, it's getting you success.
Yes.
So, and I'm not just talking about financial gains. It sounds like you're significantly happier now than what you were 6 months ago.
Yes.
Not that I knew you 6 months ago, but just simply through what you've told me, you are an absolute delight to speak to. You're not shying away. You don't come across as anxious. You may be, I don't know. And you're putting out some great content. I've followed you on LinkedIn for a couple of months now, and I think you always get me reading from top to bottom. I don't skip the middle bit. So thanks very much.
No, thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed myself. I'm not anxious now. I'm chilled now. I'm good to go. Keep with questions. I don't mind.
No, that's fine. Well, thank you so much for joining us again. You are welcome anytime.
Thank you.
And hope to see you again soon.
Yes, definitely.